Welcome to this presentation on combining sentences. We're looking at method 3 this week, which involves using a semicolon, a transitional expression, and a comma. Last week, we learned that you can connect two full sentences with a comma all by itself because it's strong enough. However, you can do more interesting things with a semicolon in terms of connecting two full sentences. I think of this as the fancy semicolon rule. And so to use it, you use the semicolon and then you add a transitional expression and a comma. One of the issues is that people forget all three parts. So in order to use this rule, remember you have to use all three parts, and the comma is the trickiest part to remember. The transitional words, you're going to get tempted to use a fanboy, and fanboys don't work in this rule. So remember, they're all longer than fanboys, or most of them are longer than fanboys, and they can be multiple words. You don't need to memorize every single transitional word you can use. I recommend just picking a handful that you think you would use often. So I know that I tend to use, for example, however, nevertheless, therefore, thus, the most often. So I make sure to remember those are for sure ones I can use. If nothing else, remember you can use however and therefore. Those are the most commonly used ones. So when you're ready to use this pattern, the pattern is full sentence, semicolon, transitional expression, comma, and a full sentence. The best way to make sure you really can use this rule is to cover up the middle or figure out where you think the full sentences join. Check to see if you have a full sentence on the front and a full sentence on the back. If that is true, then you can, in fact, use this rule. So let's look at the examples. Our first example is Mary went to the store, John went to the movies. So I'm double checking to see that I have a full sentence on both sides, which I do. So that means I can connect it with the this rule, semicolon, however, comma. Remember, you can use any transitional expression that makes sense. The next example, Alexander loves fettuccine alfredo. We should make it for his birthday. We're checking to see if we have a full sentence, and we do. Awesome. So we get to use our rule, semicolon, therefore, comma. Again, any transitional expression that makes sense. This example, the baby learning to walk should be fun. I might never get to relax again. There is a full sentence on both sides, so we get to use whatever we want. And this is a good example of how it looks when there are multiple words in the transitional expression. So I added semicolon, on the other hand, comma, and that works. Now you're going to run into tricky bits where you see the transitional expression. And what you have to do is make sure that you really have a full sentence on either side. So Jaime loves eating nectarines, growing new trees from the pits. Well, the first part is a full sentence, but growing new trees from the pits, that's missing the subject. So that's a fragment. That means that no matter what, we can't use a transitional expression with a semicolon and comma to connect two full sentences because we do not have two full sentences. So even if you see a transitional expression there, if you don't have two full sentences, you cannot put the semicolon and comma. So this one's okay as is. You just leave it alone. Now I would like you to try out this rule on the exercises.